Hi everyone, so how's this for a setting of the open water wilderness? So my friend Michelle Nugent has some questions about health and money and home business that I thought would be really cool to answer in a video. And then as a bonus, all this in the background. She put a lot of care into these questions. I thought they were great, and probably a lot of other people have these same curiosities. So here we go. So Michelle asks, I have a question, Tom. I hear you talking about all of this, money and health and home business stuff, and it sounds pretty amazing. But I'm wondering how long it took you, and also how much money it took to invest in this expenditure. She has more than that, but that's a good beginning. So it took me personally about 2.5 years of doing it in my precious minutes of my spare time. And then it took me, back in that day when I got started, the startup was $200 plus another $40 sign-on fee. So $240 of money that I did not have, and I had no job. So I had to get super creative to come up with the funding. So that answers that question. And some people do it shorter, some people take longer. And a good perspective to have on that is, I like to think of it as a 2 to 5 year plan. Some people take less than 2 years, maybe some people take more than 5 years, who knows. But the 2 to 5 year plan to retire richer than you were when you were working is the speed of light, compared to retiring 40 years later poorer than you were when you were working. So it's a pretty cool comparison. And nowadays, by the way, back then it was 240. Now people can get started for as little as $140. So $100 less, $100 easier would have made my life a lot easier because I didn't have it. So I guess in one aspect it didn't matter if I didn't have it. Who cares if it was 240 or 140, right? Okay, so the next question. She says, Michelle asked, I've been reading and listening to all your stuff and how you have properties and people who do the work for you, but I never hear you talk about how you got there, how much financial backing you needed or already had, and the length of time it took you to become freed from the cycle of working for a living. So that last question in that segment kind of answered that in the first one. It took me personally about 2.5 years of doing it in my spare time. Precious minutes of spare time, but it only took me 2.5 years, so that's pretty sweet, to where I no longer needed to have a job. That's pretty freaking awesome. We'll just call it financial freedom, for lack of a better thing to call it. That's a pretty cool thing to call it. 2.5 years. So about the properties she's talking about, the home business with health and money, marrying the two, marrying health and money to create my personal freedom, my financial freedom, so I could do what I want with my time. That was the springboard to be able to do the real estate business. Because with real estate, minimum down payment on a non-owner occupied property is 25%. So take the cost of a house, I don't know, could be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, depending on where you live in the country. It could be $100,000 just to get a shack. So that's not something that's viable for just about anybody, especially me when I first got started. I didn't even have $240, but I had to get creative to come up with it so I could launch my springboard, if you will, the home business. So once I got my springboard going and did that for a few years, then I was able to come up with the down payments to buy some properties. And I bought my first 5 properties in my first 1.5 years, because not only was I buying properties with this springboard first, but I was also, as I was getting one property, then another, I was rolling all of the cash flow back into itself to help buy more properties more quickly. But the whole start of that, because nobody has down payment for like an extra down payment to buy a house, right? So you have to have a springboard, and the springboard, the perfect springboard in my opinion, is a home business that has residual income built into it. And a few years of doing that, you could be positioned really well to have that springboard to do whatever you want. It doesn't even have to be rental properties. It could be whatever you want to do. So I've got 7 now, a total of 12 units, I think. So 12 units between 7 different properties, Elizabeth. That's what I've got now. So I hope that answers that, because it's a really great question, and the power of that springboard and getting into a home business to be that springboard for whatever you want to do with your life, whatever you want to do with your time, to make the job an optional thing if you want to have one or not. That's cool. That's really cool. Hi Michelle. Hi Elizabeth. Hi Brenda, Dolores, Shannon, Beth, Judy, Nicole, Maria, Amethyst. Great to see you all. Okay, so the next part there, she said, maybe I missed that part, and could you direct me to those answers? It seems to me to get where you are right now, a lot of people would need to have a financial net to catch all the things that unfortunately have to be paid for, whether we are financially freed or not. Can you turn me on to some of this info, please? Thank you, man. So that was the last paragraph of her questions. And so in the description of this video, sometime later on this evening, I'll put some links that answer those questions in much more detail. And to answer, let's see, I think there was another question here right now that I can answer. Right now a lot of people need to have, okay, the financial net to catch all the things that unfortunately have to be paid for. Okay, so we have bills anyway. We got food. So no matter what we're doing, what kind of income we have, the quality of that income, we have to have a way, a means to pay for those bills. So you're either going to pay, all of our bills are residual, right? All of them. So you have residual bills, might as well have residual income. It makes logical sense. So what most of us are doing is we have these residual bills that we're trying to pay down with ordinary earned income, and that's the rat race. It's a race that you cannot get out of with ordinary earned income, no matter what. I don't care how much your job pays you or how much your self-employment experience is worth. So if you're self-employed, if you have a job, it doesn't matter. If you don't have residual income to pay those residual bills, you cannot get out of the rat race. It's on purpose, it's by design, it's obedient to the status quo. So to get out of that obedience, you have to start working to create residual money. And to go back to the beginning of this live feed video, the best way to do that is going to be in a home business, because it's available to everyone, even people that don't have a lot. Even people, there's been people that got started who were literally homeless, that didn't have a home. I got started, thankfully I had a home, but I had no income, no job, so I had to get creative and come up with $240 to get started. But nowadays, like I said earlier, it's even less than that. It's $100 easier. It's $140 to get started now, which is pretty sweet. So when bills are paid by money that's coming in, whether you're working or sleeping or taking a vacation, if your bills are being paid by that kind of money, we'll call it residual and passive money, then you're a free human being. You can stop showing up to do something else that's more interesting to you, and your bills are covered anyway. Everything's covered. You can be a kid again. One of my questions that I post on my timeline makes me think of that. One of my questions, something along the lines of, what do you miss most about your childhood? What is it that brings back memories? What would you love to do again to return to your childhood? And everybody always answers the same kind of stuff. It's like, I wish I didn't have to worry about bills. I wish I could go out and play with my friends. I wish I could do all these things, but bills have to be paid. Well, this is the way that you can really return to your childhood. You build residual and passive income. You work to do that. And then your bills, eventually, you'll emerge at some point in the future. Hi. Cute kids. So eventually you'll emerge at some point in the future where your bills are covered by residual money, not ordinary earned income. Ordinary earned income means you keep having to show up, or you stop getting that income to come in. When you stop it stops, and then you can't pay your bills. So residual and passive is money that keeps coming in. You can take a break or do whatever. It keeps coming in, your bills are covered. And that's how you get out of the rat race. When you have residual and passive money that exceeds all of your expenses, your necessity and luxury expenses, at that moment, you are a financially free human being. It means you have your time freedom. And what's the number one and number two reason people don't get started in a home business? Number one, money. Number two, time. Or maybe it's reversed. No particular order, but those are pretty much tied for first, time and money. So this is the antithesis. It is the ultimate solution to that time and money problem. So one reason I didn't get started when I was first invited, it took me 3.5 months to say yes. It's because I was using time and money. I didn't have any time. I was too busy. I didn't have any money. Literally, I had no job, no income. And also to add to that, I felt I was too stupid to do it because I was a special ed student and I still got straight D's. I was like still not even smart enough to do better than straight D's as a special ed student. So, you know, I had a lot of problems. But eventually, I flipped the script in my head and I said, okay, I don't know how to do this, so that's a reason I could get started. I could learn something new. I don't have any time. Well, that's a reason to get started because I want to emerge at some point in the future having my time back, so that's a perfect reason to get started. It's not a perfect reason not to get started. It's a perfect reason to get started. And then the other one, money. I flipped the script on that too. I said, I don't have any money, so I can't get started. I don't have any money. What a perfect reason to get started, so I can have some money. So I can have some free time, some money, and I can learn something new and maybe not be so stupid. So those were all perfect reasons to get started instead of not to get started. A little bit of a tangent, but worth going at. Hi! I'm on a live feed video. These kids are kind of cute. I can't help it. So I'm not going to edit this video. So I hope you guys got a lot out of this video. And thank you again, Michelle Nugent, for asking those questions. They were pretty fantastic. Michelle Berg, hi. Joanna, hi. Kendra, hi. And if any of you guys have any questions, looks like Elizabeth so far has the only question here about how many units I have. Hi, Shannon. So if anybody else has any questions, I'm just going to stick around for another minute. The sound of the water behind us is pretty cool, hey? And these kids around here are pretty adorable too. Here's a question. Beth asked, what was the $240 and $144? I guess I missed what the initial investment. Yeah. What they paid for. I think that's your question. They paid for product so that I could use the product and get a result, have my own customer experience with the product, the health product. And so when I have my own experience with it, I could share that on a daily basis. Like I could drip little things and sprinkle in as my story unfolded on a daily basis from using the product. That's how I inspired people to want to do this with me. And you know, that's still more or less how I do it to this day. And that's how I teach new people that just enrolled now, like they got a story, a past, and now they draw a line in the sand. They're going to change their story. They're going to use these products. They're going to get a result, a health result in their health and fitness. And then I show them creative, attractive, authentic ways they can share their story on a daily basis, just small little digestible nuggets as it happens on a daily basis. And then that organically attracts and inspires people to ask, hey, what are you doing? I got goals too. Maybe I might like what you're doing. So that's how it goes. It's a beautiful, organic, natural, unforced way to do it. A beautiful, natural, organic, unforced way to build a business that builds residual money and adds all kinds of health and fitness and money to our lives and time freedom and all those things. So that's what the 240 or the 140 went towards. It was product. Hi Jean, nice to see you. Thanks for the question, Beth. Okay, so we've had a couple additional questions outside of just my friend Michelle. So I'll let this go for another minute. If anybody has any other questions, please feel free to ask them. God, I picked the perfect spot to do this, that's for sure. You're very welcome, Beth. Oh, and by the way, while we're still here, I should not neglect to say, if any of you are interested to see what I've been doing, just let me know. Private message me, or I guess you could comment here and then I'll respond later to your individual comments, or private message me, whatever. I'll show you what I've been doing. If there's a sincere interest, then we can take it from there. And then maybe we'll lock arms and do this together. So that's your invitation for all of you. And please feel free to share this, because a lot of people have these questions, and I answer things in a pretty direct way. I believe in the golden rule. One of the reasons I got into this particular company is because I had a lot of questions too when I was looking at it, and they answered them directly. There wasn't any weird tant dance or answer without answering, or all that weird stuff that you guys are familiar with. And that attracted me a lot. So I just follow the golden rule. Are you still doing workshops now and then? Sometimes I do it as the demand is there, and sometimes I'll do things to create the demand, Nicole. So like, if I have a team that's, I don't know, that has some interest in something like that, then I at least explore it, and I usually end up doing something because it's fun. So I'll say yes, depending on the demand for it, I'll do it because they're fun. I do whatever supports the team and whatever supports individuals that are doing this. And sometimes it might be a workshop, who knows? Hi, Andy. Cool, so I'll let it go for another minute. You guys got any more questions? And my website, I should plug that in. I do every other video. TomBerkenmeyer.com. Just like it's spelled here on social media, TomBerkenmeyer.com. right, I think that concludes the video. I don't see any other questions. Had some really good ones in addition to the ones that Michelle had for me. This was fun, everyone. I brought my tripod down here and just did this up so I can be hands-free. So, have a beautiful evening, everybody. And I'm looking forward to talking to anybody that wants to know more about what I'm doing. And I'll do this with anybody who's really sincerely, organically, and sincerely interested in this, in the whole concept of adding money and health to our lives. So they got the breadth and the vitality to enjoy the time that we have in this finite experience on this planet. Bye for now, everyone. Mwah. Talk to you soon.